Good evening, everyone. We appreciate you being with us tonight for our work session. We're going to have the work session and then a public hearing on our budget tonight, as well as part of our regular meeting. At the beginning of our meetings, we start with a moment of silence, and we'd invite you to join with us. And this is Teacher Appreciation Week, and they need all the prayers they can get for the last few weeks of school, so remember them too. But if you would join us for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. And tonight we're happy to have Ms. McAllister with Westminster Elementary. She's going to introduce some students, and they're going to lead us in the pledge, and we'll invite you to join us, and then you go ahead and tell us all the wonderful things about
I'd love to.
Going on.
Thank you. Tonight we have Emma Stansel and Claire Ray leading us in our pledge. If you'll come forward. A little bit nervous.
And I'm glad you got them up here where they can get on camera.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, lady.
Did a great job. I'd like to start tonight by saying thank you for this opportunity. Anytime I can brag on Westdale, I jump right in there. I'd like to start with introducing you to someone that has been of great help to me. You all were nice enough to give me a substitute during my wonderful AP's absence when she added a member to her family. And I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Burrell. Herb Burrell. He's been awesome for the last 12 weeks. I'm going to lose him next week, I think it is. He's going back home, going to do a little traveling. But he's really been a great help. He just fell right in there, and the parents enjoy him, the teachers enjoy him. So I appreciate you letting me have him, and I do thank you, Mr. Burrell, for all that you've done as well. At one point of recognition tonight, I would like to recognize one of our very own, my literacy coach, Jenny Clay. She's traveled further than I've ever been and probably will ever go. And I'm going to let her tell you just a little bit about her travels.
So I had the privilege to be able to travel to Bucharest, Romania with Trinity Baptist. And while we were there, we had 3 objectives. Our first objective was to observe in the classrooms, to watch their educators and to learn from them. Our second objective was to work with students. And then our third objective was to actually lead professional development sessions for their educators, to teach them how to better engage their students in their learning. And I'm often asked, what did I bring back? There's 2 things if I had to narrow it down. There's a lot more, but if I only had 2 things to say, is that even though we're oceans apart, as educators, we experience the same struggles, the same successes and dreams for our students. And it was evidence in the conversations that I had with their educators. And then the second thing is that we are very blessed and fortunate in Oconee County to have the support of the board, to have administration who supports us, and our teachers and parents and our students. We don't see that sometimes often in other countries, so I'm very thankful for that, and we're all working towards what's best for students.
We would like to give her a certificate of recognition tonight, and it says, this certificate of recognition for your hard work and educational efforts abroad by teaching in Romania. Thank you. She shared with all the students and worked with all the classes, and they loved it. So, and she kept us, her husband was real sweet. She kept us streamed the whole time on text back and forth. He did a real good job of sending everything to all the teachers. So it was just a great experience for all of us. A very important thing we want to share with you tonight is at Westminster Elementary, you know, we just go back, way back. We want to educate our students academically. That's very important. We also want to make sure that we get them ready to be successful and they're well-rounded. Because as you well know, just knowing everything about reading, it's important, but there's other things you have to learn with it. So I have a group that has been very instrumental this year in trying something new, and we're so proud of them. It's my first grade, and we have 5 wonderful first grade teachers, one of them that is with me tonight, and her name is Miss Anna May. I'm going to let her show you what we did in first grade.
Like Ms. Mack said, my name is Anna May. I'm a first grade teacher at Westminster Elementary. This is my 9th year teaching first grade. And this year, with the help of Ms. Mack, we decided to take a different approach to teaching our science standards. As you probably know, Westminster helped to pilot the PBL this year. It's project-based learning. So that was where we started this year. And our reason behind it was we really wanted to start out with teaching our standards, of course, to our students, our science standards, but we wanted to provide a more engaging, hands-on, real-life experience with these standards for these kids. So we started with a problem for our children. At the beginning of the year, we had a huge section at the front of the school of juniper bushes that had to be removed because of some things that were living in them. So we presented the problems to the kids, and we said, we have this big section. What can we do? What do you suggest we do with this space? And it was incredible to see the things that the kids came up with. This one right here that you see is actually a mango tree. We decided not to go that route. We planted a vegetable garden instead. So we wanted to make sure that we pulled in our community. With the help of Ms. Mack and our Warrior Strong project, community is a really big part of Westminster. So with Ms. Mack's help, we found this gentleman that you see up here. We call him lovingly Farmer Barker. His name is Mr. Ron Barker. But he has spent so much of his own time, not just teaching the teachers, but talking to the kids about everything from what kind of plants we can grow in the winter, what kind of plants we can't grow and why. I learned so much about plants that grow together well and plants that don't grow together well. So we are so very thankful for him and his part in helping with our garden. And for the next part, I'm going to let Miss Sophie Sanford come up here, and she's going to kind of tell you guys a little snippet about the process we took with our garden.
We cleared, we planted, we ate it.
Exactly. And to elaborate a little bit for you guys, this was us just kind of getting started. The kids investigating some things. Very hands-on the whole time. The kids did the watering, the kids planted. You can see Miss Joanne Martin here with her class and all of their produce that they grew for the year. We grew carrots, we grew radishes. I can't even remember all the things that we grew, broccoli. And then, of course, like Sophie said, we ate it. There were kids coming back for 4th and 5th helpings of broccoli and parents that absolutely did not believe that. But they did. And radishes just cut up with some ranch, they loved it. So we broadened some horizons this year too. We then took the next approach to clean out our winter garden and begin our spring garden. So that was quite a bit of work. But like I said, the kids did every bit of it. They got the hose out there, they got the rakes. We spent a lot of time out there sweating, but we absolutely enjoyed it. And to take it a little bit further, as all of you guys know as educators, our goal is not just to teach standards to these kids, but to create, like our mission statement says, responsible, productive citizens. So all of our classes really took a step further and we began composting. You can see here one of our compost bins. Some of our classes composted with worms. My class began composting with some leftovers from the cafeteria. So it all came back to reusing and reducing. We wanted to take this into some learning with, what can we do in our part on the environment. So we learned a lot about just using less, making less trash. And also we went a step further and we planted nearly 50 flowers around our school. in the courtyards, out front, by the windows, just to make our school a more beautiful learning environment for everybody that comes through. So next, I have some gentlemen with me today that want to share with you guys about their favorite part of the gardening. So if you guys will go ahead and come on up here. All right, we have Mr. Landon Hopper, Sawyer Ray, and Briley Owens for you guys. And they just want to share with you about what their favorite part of the garden experience was. Go first.
We like to get our hands dirty, and we like to plant seeds. We did a lot of composting, and we found a lot of worms. I'm on my own now. I can grow my own food.
Exactly. We know how to grow our own food. So what better way to make productive citizens than to teach them to be self-sufficient? And to share one last point with you guys, just some parent quotes that I have up here for you guys. I had a parent tell me school's not a battle anymore. They don't have to fight to get their kid out of the bed. Another parent shared with me that there's something for that kid to look forward to when they know they're going to go to school and go outside. And last, I'm going to let you guys read some of those quotes from my students of things that they enjoyed the most. But while you're reading, I have Miss Sophie Sanford again and my helpers to help pass out some things for you guys, because Sophie's going to tell you about what we need you to do tonight.
Here's your homework. Now you grow your own.
Now you grow your own. So we have some gifts to leave with you guys tonight that you can take some of hopefully what you've learned home with you.
Oh, neat.
All right, so those are all packs of pumpkins, and you want to just put them down. And then Landon, these we got to be kind of careful with because these are squash plants. And if you want to step one right in front of everybody. Come on, Miss Sophie, we'll start this one. We have some soil for you guys. And Sawyer right here has a pumpkin seed for you to take.
Thank you. I love pumpkin. Did you know that's my favorite?
This is our little cup to plant it in.
And Riley has
Thank you.
a
Thank you, man.
cup for you guys to plant in that we learned to
Right,
reuse
thank you.
old newspapers.
Thank you.
Let's see, well, thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Oh, you made these.
We sure did. This is
Thank
this
you.
is squash that we planted from seed and
Thank
grew
you.
ourselves.
Thank you.
Who's going to help us?
Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you, sir.
Can we get a...
Could I get you four students to come stand right in that corner right there? Mr. Hamby's gonna get a picture of you with the school board and tweet it out to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So if y'all will turn around and look at Mr. Hamby right there.
Thank you.
Just,
Sophie?
Thank you.
all right. Can you see everybody?
Yeah, I can get all of them. I'm gonna step up a little bit closer. I get all the board. Smile like you just got a big radish. All right.
Radish is my favorite.
Thank you, guys.
Sweet. If we combine them, we can have a commune.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ms. Mack. Appreciate you sharing with us. The students, appreciate y'all being with us. We'll see how these grow. We could have a competition. Whose plant, who grows the biggest pumpkin. Yeah, okay. All right, then next on our agenda is approval of tonight's agenda. If we can get a motion to approve the May 8th work session agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda for the work session of May 8th, 2017.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? It's unanimous. The next is public comment. Is anyone signed up? No one signed up? Okay. Then we'll move on to the public hearing, and we'll declare that we're in public hearing for the general fund budget. Mr. Hamby, do y'all want to address that? first. If there's anyone who wants to make a comment or address that. But you gotta share it anyway.
Right. Right, we do have,
What's proposed.
we have the PowerPoint that we shared with county council available if you would like us to use that. We didn't know if that would be something that people would be interested in seeing and you guys would want to see. If you want to run through that real quick? Just
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay. So we went over there several weeks ago and shared the information with county council, and we'll be going back over there soon. The first slide we shared with them is the comparison of where the state is falling short with the Education Finance Act and their obligation. Of course, we talk about that every year, but you know, they're right at 20% short of what we should be funded for the base student cost. Now that $2,400 is still not finalized. The Senate was looking at $2,435, so now that they're meeting, it may be somewhere in the middle, but it's still not close to where it's supposed to be by law, quite honestly. Then we showed we'd like to share with them the history of the revenue collected over a 5, 6, 7-year period. And then, of course, the numbers for 2018 are numbers that we are proposing at this time. And again, we said it may adjust depending upon what that conference committee does and what kind of understandings and agreements they hash out between the House version and the Senate version. Then, of course, we talk about the general fund, the fund balance in there, because we, by policy, have to keep 20% of our operational budget in there, and we are, based on projection for this, we are just barely making that, and that's why you guys, when we did the budget earlier, we talked about doing a line item for $500,000 to put in there to help get that back up where we're in a more comfortable range with that policy, and making people understand that that's not a savings account. We use that money to pay off the bills until taxes come in, and then we still have to take a tan out in the fall to be able to make payroll and that. So it's not like we have $18 million sitting in the bank and we can just use it whenever, and it's sitting over there drawing interest and we not doing anything with it. School millage history, and you can see from 12, 13 on to today. And then she asked about why I didn't put 17, Ms. Kamick did, 17, 18, and we're technically supposed to request a dollar amount, and they do the millage that goes with it. But we did discuss that all our conversations, while I've been in this position and even back before, with Dr. Thorsland, have been flat millage rate, don't ask for a millage increase, and if the value of the mill grows, then we will help you by letting you have the new revenue from that. That's the way you generate more revenue. And with this year being a reassessment year, we hope and we expect that the value of the mill will grow, and so we talked with them, and we hope that even if maybe 109 would suffice to cover it, they would leave us at 110.1 mills, even though they would, by law, have to declare that as a tax increase. So that's where we, and we stayed 31 with the bond and the capital improvement stuff. So 141.1 was the goal that we've been on for, that's 5 years in a row. Some of the issues we shared with them, some they have as well. 2% increase in employer contributions to retirement, and we're still not sure how that's going to work out. We don't even know if that money is going to be placed in our budget or if it's going to go straight to the state retirement. We also will be going up a percentage on that each year for the next 5 years, in addition to the 2% this year. So 7% over the next 6 years. 3.3% increase in employer insurance costs, which for us equates to approximately $330,000. The Terry program is ending, which means additional retirement payouts for us with our system set up. We typically, based on leave that you maintain and that kind of thing, in a typical year, we're somewhere around $150,000, $160,000 payout. This year it's going to be like $400,000 to $500,000 more than that. And then the personnel items are at the bottom. We did stay with 7 mental health counselors, and we added 2 additional SROs. So with that, I don't think we updated on this. This is an updated one. With that $400,000 actually should be $625,000. We changed it on the one that they saw. I don't have the most up-to-date one on here for her. Then we just showed them what we were doing with our 31 mills that we get and our bond money, and how we're spending things, and what our plan was. Obviously, this one was not up to date at the time to include our commitment we're making to the YMCA, but they're very well aware of that. We told them about that, and they want to do what they can for the Y as well. I think they're going to do some in-kind work and that kind of thing. Of course, they know that our big project is a workforce development center on Highway 11 with Tri-County Tech and Economic Development and the school district. And we can breeze through these right quick. This is just some things that when we've met with them, they ask us about, so we call it frequently asked questions, and so that maybe even the general public will better understand. How can you spend millions of dollars on building projects yet claim to have a budget shortfall? And we continue to explain and educate people that we have 2 different budgets. The operations budget, which is the 110.1 mills, salaries, benefits, utility supplies, materials, basic things that keep us running. And about 89% of that's personnel. The capital improvement budget, 31 mills, you sometimes hear it referred to as 8% or brick and mortar money. We pay off debt services. We do projects, including the building projects we're doing, including the mill we give for technology every year that we use for both infrastructure and school-based technology. And you cannot cross over and take money out of the capital improvement budget and put it in the operational budget for use over there. So we just try to educate people on that every year and make them understand. They don't always do that because they see you got 2 different pots, and your savings and your bank accounts at home may be interchangeable, but the ones we have are not interchangeable. We can't just pick and choose.
And tell Willie,
Yeah.
if they can spend $3 million for a pool, why can't they give teachers a raise?
Right. Yeah. A whole
Different pots of money.
Yes. True. True. They had asked us about the purchasing cards that we use, and we just talked about that. Things under $2,500. For us, it's a better way to account. We don't have to print checks at the school level. We don't have to print as many checks here. We don't carry a balance, so there's no interest. It's not costing us anything to do that. Of course, we obviously meet the procurement guidelines and restrictions, and in our minds, in Ms. Moore's department, it has reduced paperwork, and we believe it has increased efficiency by the way we operate with those. And then they always ask about food. When they were speaking, they come in, how can you buy this and this? We look at it, the majority of the money that goes through for foods is what we call pass-through money. It's coming from the parent to the school to pay for a field trip, we write one check, or we make one charge to Chick-fil-A if that's who they use, or whomever. And so the majority of the money is that. Some of it does come from fundraising, and some of it is where we do provide meals. We provide meals at certain advisory groups to get folks in to attend. We have them at breakfast time and lunch time, so that will get those. Some of our schools provide meals for families. That's one of the best ways to incentivize them coming is if you feed them, they will come. And, to get folks to come in, sometimes we do that. And we have talked with our staffs, and we work with them with the typical budget. They have a back-to-school breakfast or something that first day they get back, and then they typically at the end of the year have a lunch or luncheon that they do for their staff. And some do it different. Some of them do potluck, and everybody brings something. Some of them provide other things. But we've tried to keep an eye on that and make sure it's nothing over the top kind of thing. So we have done that. This question came up, this is Mr. Herring's question, where it came up about the big number in the audit for our portion of the retirement liability. And that's our story, and we're sticking to it. It's in there as it is for everybody, and we are not mandated to pay it at this time, although they're getting closer by upping that amount we have to pay.
I hope you can stick to it.
Ms. Moore's helping us stick to it. This one we didn't include this time because the Coney Focus has changed over, so even though it still is a good thing for us.
So that's the real number.
Do I?
That's the real number.
So that's the real number. So in the end, this was our summary of what we were asking for them, 44,721, 683 in local taxes, combined with the state tax reimbursement for 62,783, 211. And we gave them the big notebooks with the full budget information in it by department, by school, everything broken down, 150, 200 pages. When we go back, if they want to ask us questions, Ms. Moore will be happy to answer them when we sit there. And they'll go through and there'll be some questions, and we'll see how the next visit goes. We don't have that one on the calendar yet.
Just going to ask you when it was going to be.
I'm guessing it'll be their second meeting this month, but they have not called us to confirm that. I'll check with Katie over there.
I think that's the actual FY17 number.
Is that the 17 number?
It is.
Yeah, we got a combination of the two slides. I'm sorry. We were sharing it back and forth, and she must on her Google Docs have the,
I must have the wrong one.
well, because I didn't have that Oconee Focus page in there. But we gave them the right one.
The exhibit that you have
Is
for
is
the
the correct
general
number.
fund budget is the actual number, and we
So
can
it's-
pull that up as well.
We'll pull it up and make sure you get them update docs.
So this is what you approved, and this is what they got.
And we haven't heard anything from state or on House or Senate that's changed anything yet.
You actually do have what I know from the Senate. The second part of this
Right.
exhibit has the Senate numbers, and the
But our
difference
bottom line was the
is
same.
$699,000 difference.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it would be more. But we know they're going to compromise. It's not going to be this much. More questions or comments?
So, anything from the, Kevin?
Big numbers.
They
They
are
are.
big numbers.
They are.
Dick, y'all have a question?
Yeah, total school spending next year is,
You got it.
97,165, 379.
It's projected now.
right, and you gave the figures from county and state, the 44 and the 18 million, right?
That 18 million from the state, that is just the part we get from property taxes when they did the Act 388 in 2007. So that's not all state revenue. That is just the tax swap part of it. The rest of
1%.
the money that makes up that difference would be state money from EFA, EIA. Is that, am I saying
That's
that
correct, yes, yes. I have
And
a handout you
I
can
was
have.
gonna say, we'll
If you'd
give
like
you
to have
each
it.
one of them when they're. And again, we're waiting. We hope that this week they'll reach those compromises and we'll have a better understanding, and because they're being pushed for time when they're
Yeah,
supposed to be
they're running
finished
out of
up. So,
time
This week.
on their
yeah,
part.
by the end of this week. I
Well,
think it's
unless they
Thursday.
extend the session, we should know definitely by next Monday night when we have
Which one?
the third reading.
Yeah, and it may be it may be something we have to update even on Monday. A final update depending upon
Yes.
what they do, so it may be, as late as Monday.
So
before
we'll
we
have
get to-
second reading
Next week.
next week.
Yeah, second reading
Okay,
next week.
then we could still make changes
Right,
before.
exactly. And that, we'll have met with them in between too, second, third, so we'll know what they're feeling and what their thoughts are as well, so.
Okay.
Still like we've been, we're kind of aiming at a moving target, and Ms. Moore does a really nice job of hitting close and getting us in the area with what information she has at this time, so.
Steve, looks like you guys did a good job of
given them a compact and really a lot of information in there, so.
And I apologize that there were a couple of slides in here that didn't get changed out for some reason. Sometimes that we say multiple versions and we didn't bring the right one up, but the gist of the information was the same, and then you've got the actual numbers right here, so.
Anybody else have any questions? Anybody else? Y'all have anything else? Well, then we'll close the public hearing on the FY18 general fund budget. Move on to Dr. Thorsland, superintendent's report.
Yes, pretty quick report for me tonight. I do want to update you on the State Department of Education technology audit. As the legislature has approved that South Carolina will move to online testing, they asked the State Department to do an assessment of where all the school districts in our state are in their preparation for doing online testing for all of our state testing for students. So the State Department sent representatives out to each district to assess, just, are you ready, willing, and able to do online testing? They came to Oconee County recently, and we received our report on that audit, and we passed with flying colors. Matter of fact, they said that Oconee could be a model district that other districts could come look at to see what they could do to improve. So I want to really brag on Josh Shepard, Jennifer Crawford, and just the hard work that they've done, and also what Mr. Ruka has done in years prior to prepare us. The Oconee Focus plays a big part of that. We have internet that's probably second to none across our state because of the Oconee Focus project. The backbones of our technology infrastructure, it's very, very good. We're updating the wireless points right now, and we have the number of devices we need. So while we've read a lot, I know you get e-clippings and you read what different districts are doing, and sometimes it sounds like maybe we're behind on the technology out there. We're really in good shape, particularly with our infrastructure. And next year, of course, we'll jump into the game with some of the one-to-one technology in our high schools, elementary schools, and I think even some of our middle school grade levels may be one-to-one. So we're doing very well, and I just want to, pat people on the back for having us in a good position. So we felt really positively about that audit from the State Department. I also want to touch on one other thing. We were looking at our schedule for the summer, just trying to plan ahead, and for some reason back in December, November, when we asked you to approve the 2017 board meeting dates, we had a July 26th date for the board retreat, and we would like to bump that up to June for a couple of reasons. The main reason is the 26th of July is the day before our opening administrators meeting to kick off the 17-18 school year. So we would have the retreat on Wednesday and then have all the principals and assistant principals in the next day. And we just feel like that's too late. We need some time to respond to some of the things. You may change goals, you may have different initiatives you want us to work on, and that would give us a little more time. So we'd like to move that back to June. Possibly June 22nd, I think was the day we were looking at. It was a Thursday. So we'd love for you to just look at your own calendars. We can email that date to you. Look at your own calendars and see if June 22nd, a Thursday, might work. And if it doesn't, we can work and find a date that will work, but we'd like to do it hopefully in June rather than July to give us a little time to prepare for that administrators meeting and that. But that would take a vote by you next week. So if we can come up with a date, we'll put it on the agenda to vote next week, since that is something you approved earlier, and then we would update it.
If you see a problem, please share it with Michael this week, and then we'll have it on the agenda for next week.
You gonna send us a date?
We will. I may get Shannon to get on that tomorrow, to just get in touch with you guys and maybe send you a couple of options, because I think I saw Denise shaking her head on June 22nd. So we'll try to get a couple.
One, but that month, I can't do it.
Well, we'll get a couple of options out there for you.
21st.
And Shannon may just get on the phone. Sometimes that's easier than doing everything through email and having to change it several times. So we'll get that out this week and have that on the agenda next week, if that's okay with you, to do a little earlier date. We just feel like that'll help us in preparation for next year. So, and that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Thornton. Then, Mr. Hanvey?
And you're back to us with, you've got the April financial report, and of course, we're getting close. We're winding down the year. And so with that comes, budget's getting to the end point. You see what we have there, or if there's any questions about any part of it, we're happy to answer questions about
The May, June, and July checks still have to come out of the remaining, correct?
I'm sorry, say that
May,
again.
June, and July checks, yeah. We said that.
Or, right,
For salaries?
yes.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Okay.
Yep, 3 more.
Okay. Anybody have any particular questions, anything? Okay. Anything on the checks or expenditures there? It goes back to one of the pass-through things, you notice a lot of field trips.
Correct.
Yes, that's
People
exactly
question,
right.
That looks like a lot of money for a field trip, but again, that's money collected
Right.
from the parents,
True.
deposited, and then we just write the check.
That's right.
That's definitely correct.
And it is a popular time for field trips.
Oh, it is, it is.
Yeah, and
The
as-
check to Supply Works, and it says inventory, it's like.
That's for paper,
I
like
wondered
toilet
about that.
paper,
It's a lot.
other kinds of things that we keep at
Hand,
the
white
warehouse.
paper, just
Okay. Thank you.
paper products mainly
Thank
for
you.
custodians and that.
We still just have a few items in the warehouse, and Supply Works supplies most of that.
Okay.
It's funny when you buy things like that for your home, a couple, $3 to buy a pack, but when you buy it for 10,000 students and 1,500 employees, the number looks a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I wondered. yeah.
And of course, we buy it in quantities where we can have a stock for the next months, not just.
And a
the
better
next month.
price.
You
And
don't
Scott redid that. I mean,
Don't wanna run out.
We don't-
Scott redid that. He redid, we looked at it and we redid it again to see if it's still cost effective the way we're doing it with the warehouse and that kind of thing. So,
Thank you.
Steve, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
The, next to the last one, South Carolina Department of Education, claims reversal.
We had a situation where we claimed some expenditures in the wrong fund, and in order to correct that, we had to send the money back. So they would reinstate that in the budget for the correct,
Correct,
right.
so it's just
It's just.
swapping money,
Yes.
basically.
But that's how they make us do it, if there's, something.
Steve, the last one there, the construction management, are we pretty much on target there at West Oak as far as the construction?
We are with the things that have to be ready. The football stadium, the track, those areas. We're not behind on the others, but the gym, the deadline has never been, August. So we've got them, and they are, if you go by there, they've got the new concession, the new ticket booth, the new bathroom concessions. They've got the whole track strip. They've got the drain system in. We've done the field and laser graded it, and they're coming back. And the weather's been a little bit of a hindrance. They've got to put some sod on the sideline. But when we met last Thursday, they were looking at doing that today, tomorrow, because the weather's going to be good. So I'll be back over there on Thursday for sure, if not before. But we're feeling good about the track and the football field and things that have to be ready. We're gonna see on how quickly the gym will go. I can't really give you a firm update. Our goal is to get in there at the beginning of basketball and wrestling and that, which is the first week or so in November. But a lot of that's weather dependent, and it won't be because they're not working at it, but it could be that one will be tight.
And when I've gone by, it seems like a lot of work's going on.
It is, and there's a lot of folks out there, and we meet with them weekly. The ag, we ran into a little snag on the, and it's easily fixed, but like where we're putting the ag mechanic shop in the greenhouse with the soil didn't test the way we needed to, so we had to dig down deeper, then we had to bring in more gravel and fill to get that right. So, but, and that one's not one that they either also have to have ready at the beginning of school, but we obviously want to get them in there as quickly as possible. But yes, to answer your question, in a shorter answer, we feel good about it being ready for that first game in August 25th or whatever that date is, because they've got it marked in their head when that game is, and that they know they got to be ready a week before that, so we can get the inspections and stuff done. And the Walhalla L project, we haven't moved as much dirt and such over there because we're having to work with the city, and because of the way we're bringing in the water for the fire line and that, the city's having to get the permits for us, so we're having some delays with permits and trying to get all those. So they're anxious to get moving dirt as well. They've got things laid out. They've got the fence up. They've got the trailer there, and we're working the meeting, and we feel good about what they're going to be able to do too. A lot of their stressful stuff doesn't begin until the teachers leave. They got inside the building stuff that has got to get done in the summer there, and then we'll get into the gym when we get into the gym. But they're going to be on a tighter timeline than we are at West Oak. West Oak, we need nature's help. When we're inside there, we need everybody to show up and get that work done, and all the lead time on some of these items you're having to order is outrageous. So that's why we're trying to get on them early. So feel good about both of them. We've got Jay Davis we're working with at Walhalla L, and that's going well, and of course Trail at West Oak High. So.
I went over to Ravenel for Artists on the Green.
President.
Boy, you can just about get lost in that building now.
Yeah.
It looks absolutely nothing like it used to when you go up in there.
And they needed it, boy. That space out there,
Yeah.
that's nice. Yeah,
It looks good.
It turned out very nice. They're very pleased with how that goes, and I know that Carolyn and them are at Fair Oak as well with their additions and renovations too. So we've been fortunate to have good people, and they do good work for us. Any other questions on the April report?
Okay.
All right, the next one is, I'm going to just tell you this and be honest, it's a work in progress because this is the first reading. We got word that we need to have a district wellness policy in place by the end of June. And I had been working, and Scott Hood had been working on some stuff because Scott had wanted us to work toward this, and he had done a draft, and he'd gotten it from other districts that he had talked to in that. So there were a lot of similarities. So what we did was we sat down last week and we took their draft and the School Board Association's recommended policy, and we sort of massaged them and worked them together. What I have done now, because I had to have it to you guys on here for this time, is I have sent it to the principals to get more feedback from them, because we didn't have a principals meeting before when we could get more feedback. And mainly the elementary principals. The middle and high, it's not that big of a deal for, except making sure they're not selling things they're not supposed to sell. At the elementary level, it dictates, how much time they've got to have to sit down, to be seated and eat, how much time, physical activity per day. It talks about not taking away recess as a punishment for certain things. And those kind of things. I know a lot of them, they'll sometimes make them walk for part of the recess, so they're getting that physical activity. So there's some things that some schools may have to adjust, so I'm asking them for feedback and to get it to me this week so I can look and see what changes we need to make. But there will be some slight changes, I figure, between this and the final version that we'll approve in June. But I had to get it out front for you guys to be able to see it. The basic skeleton will stay the same, but some of the particulars may be tweaked a little bit.
Point those out to us next week.
Yeah, anything that we make a change in, we'll highlight and put in a different color or do whatever. So, and we're not having a principals meeting this month because of all the testing and stuff. So I'm doing it through email with them and that. So, just know that this is a draft. If you see things that you think I need to ask them about, but we sat down, me, Ulysses, Wanda, and Scott, and went through all of it, and they're both sort of tied together, the administrative rule as well as the ADF policy. But we expect there to be some tweaking between now and June in the final reading. So,
Yeah, because when I read it, the children are supposed to be able to sit down for 20 minutes after they receive their food.
when they get 20 minutes from time, not 25 minutes to walk in and,
I know,
yeah,
just 20 minutes after they receive their food.
to eat and do that, and that's,
And I was wondering how that was working out.
well, and one of the ones that got me was, it talked about eating at a traditional time. I mean, we start lunches at 10:40, 10:45 in the morning, brunch. And so, we can't, when you've got that many kids to feed and got to have that much seat time, we don't have a place like the Walhalla High or the West Oak High or the Seneca High cafeterias where you can sit that many. So we got to do it in stages. One grade comes in, maybe halfway through, another grade comes in, they get up and leave, somebody replaces them, they get up and leave. But that whole process, if you got to sit there for 20 minutes and you're 10 minutes in line, there's a minimum of 30 minutes. And getting 6 sets of them through there is difficult. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. I haven't heard a whole lot. I don't think they've paid attention to it. I'll send them a reminder tomorrow and make sure that we do it. But that was the one that caught my eye, that if they want us to start lunch at closer to 11, and I mean, we won't be finishing until 1:15, 1:30 with some of
Then
those.
you've just gone over the
I know,
other
you
way.
just bump it to the other end.
Yeah.
That's why in kindergarten and first grade, they do a nice job of giving them a snack later in the day to help them bridge that gap between lunch and when they get to home or daycare or whatever.
Aren't you glad it's not that bunch in Washington trying to figure this out?
I saw the news last week was that they changed, the new administration changed some of the guidelines, or they
Right.
proposed some, so.
The salt and the
Make
wheat
food service
bread.
great again,
Yeah,
that's what we joked about.
Yeah. They could put seasoning back in that.
yeah, gonna add a little bit in there. So ours are mine are sorted together. They go in there. The food service one, the administrative rule, it talks about when you can and can't charge meals, the amount that is the max for credit. We have complaints sometimes, when we're not going to turn any kid down to eat. They may get an alternative meal, which is choice number one, whatever that choice for the day is. The rule is it's choice number one. So like the other day when I was down there, choice number one was pizza. Well, most of them kids are going to be happy with that. But we've got to put in some.
They don't give them like a peanut butter sandwich?
No, we've gotten away from that. It used to be that way.
That creates extra work for the lunchroom staff.
So we've gotten away from that. So I asked, and I put it in there.
Identifies more the child.
Right, it does.
Draws
And that's the other goal, is not to do that. But it talks about some of the guidelines with charging $25 is the max, how we try to contact them. We call, we have the robocall, we have the letters we send home. Sometimes you try to get the principal involved to help you get it. And sometimes we understand that there was a gap in between there from when their free lunch ran out to when they got the application in again, and you eat that, no pun intended, but you eat that for the accounting system. So it is what it is, but we will definitely make sure that no kid comes in there and is turned away and goes hungry because they don't have money on their account or whatever. Now the principal can do the form for them and sign off for them if they know the situation and the parents just won't do it. They can sign off for them to allow them to have free and reduced lunch. Still got to send it to through food services, but the principal can do that. So if you see questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. I kind of group those two together, both the administrative rule and then the wellness policy. But they all deal with food services and the health and physical activity for our kids.
Any other questions, Tammy? Okay. Ms. Williams,
Okay,
you're up there.
we are here tonight. There are two school board goals as far as being a top 10 school district that apply to the employee training report. One is to employ and retain staff so as to make sure that each classroom will have a certified and highly effective teacher, and schools will be served by exemplary staff. And then the second goal is work on relationships and communication opportunities with our classified staff. So Dr. Wise is here tonight to highlight our progress in this area with training opportunities that we have completed throughout the school year to show how busy we've been in the human resources. So,
Yes, and, well, good evening. I want to start by saying that I am very thankful to have served in the role as Director of Employee Training and Recruitment. I feel extremely fortunate to have been a part of the HR team with Ms. Williams and the other staff members in there who I know that you know work extremely hard, and I think we've been a great team. Feel very good about what we've accomplished this year, not only with the training that we've done, but also with recruitment, retention, and especially with substitutes. We want to bring in good people that can go into those classrooms and the teachers feel really good about them being there. So we've done a great job with that. As you can see in our training report, we've served a significant number of people, and we've offered training that not only will benefit our employees, but will also serve the needs of our students, and we know that's very important. I want to start out with focusing on the groups that we've had to attend our training. We've had instructional aides, bus drivers, food service, school and district office staff, which included our bookkeepers, our database clerks. We've had nurses to come, substitutes did come, especially when we did the safety, because when we did substitute training, we gave them the opportunities to come for those safety trainings, and we had some to come. Administrators and teachers came to our Canvas training. Even though it was for support staff, we did have some teachers there, and we had potential employees. In our report, we've given you the dates, the types of training, and of course the number of participants. So I won't go over the numbers, you can see them there, but they've been extremely well, especially when we look at introduction to Canvas and the safety part of it. The types of trainings, and when you look at the dates, we did begin our training the 1st of August, and we concluded on April the 10th, mainly because of testing, end of the year activities. But we will start again in June. We will be at the Summer Institute doing some training. If you look at the types of training we've had, what we want to do when we looked at it, we of course wanted to focus on the immediate needs of our staff. If you look at the Title IX, the yearly Title IX training, the purpose, of course, is to focus on staff conduct, professionalism, and we want to create an environment where our educators, staff, everybody feel comfortable, where they can come and effectively teach our children, but also for our children, so they will feel comfortable with learning. If you look at our particular groups and dates, I won't go through all of them, but I do want to focus on that Darkness to Light, where we did the online training. Personally, I do like that personal contact, standing before our audience and teaching. But as you can see with the numbers, we do reach a lot of people through the online training. Now, online training takes a lot of preparation, just as well as presenting it personally. We have to provide the passwords, the IDs, the instruction. We have to remind them continuously. We have to monitor to make sure that they've done it. Mr. Rucat, you can understand that. And then, of course, we enter the results into our database once they're trained to indicate that they've received the training. If you look at our ADEPT and safety training, we added a couple of things there this year. Well, of course, we did our orientation for our new teachers, and we had quite a number of new teachers this year. We had 38 new teachers. Now, we have some additional people that participated in the training when you see the 49, because we had well, brand new teachers, I should say, 38, but we've had new teachers who came from out of state that we also provided that training for as well, and so that's why you see the number 49 there. What we really feel good about is the being a mentor review training that we did on September the 1st. We did that at Walhalla High School, and we invited all of those mentor teachers to come and join in with their induction teachers. So they had that first meeting in sort of a social atmosphere, because that's what we wanted to be. We served them dinner. They enjoyed the dinner. They enjoyed the times that they had one-on-one with their induction teacher. And while we had them there, we reviewed what their roles should be as a mentor and how they can best serve those induction teachers. Then we had a mentor refresher training. Brenda Boland did that for us at Blue Ridge Elementary. We offered 2 days of that so that our mentors will have a choice and be able to attend. We didn't have as many there as we would like. Also, that mentor training can be done online, so we will be doing online training with them. For our South Carolina teaching standards for cooperating teachers, we had excellent training in conjunction with Clemson University. We had it here in the district office, and what they did was the representatives from Clemson came up and worked with our teachers who were supervising teachers, who had, all of them had student teachers from Clemson, and went over the new rubrics for evaluating the new teachers. And that went really, really well. We had great participation, and pretty much all of them did attend. If you look at our Leadership Academy sessions, early on we did mention on September the 26th that we had principals and district administration to do the Title IX training, which also falls under the Leadership Academy sessions. And I'm sorry about my voice. I have an allergy that is unreal, and I'm surprised I'm not coughing right now, so I apologize. But I want to thank Evie Hughes, Sharon Sanders, and Jennifer Crawford. Evie did our law enforcement. The media tips were done by Sharon Sanders, and Jennifer Crawford and Josh Shepard did a great job with the technology resources in education. Our support staff substitute training opportunities, and you can see we did have some good results to start out. I think as time goes on, the year gets a little busy, it's kind of hard for the staff to come back out. But great turnout with the introduction to Canvas. And I want to say that I stayed for every training probably except 2, and that was because we had some other meetings. Ms. Williams was also there. The school safety, Evie did that one, and she did all of the school safeties that we had there. And Jennifer Crawford did all of the Canvas, Google Docs. If you'll look on March the 23rd, that last one under the support staff and substitute training, the program of alternative certification was done in conjunction with the State Department of Education. Thank you very much. With the State Department of Education from the PACE program. And they were very pleased with the number of people that we had there. As a matter of fact, we had more people than they could actually handle. And so what they did was, anybody in our district that is interested in becoming a teacher, we had them bring their transcripts. They sat down with them one-on-one up until the point they could not. They had to start doubling up because we had that many people. And talked with them, gave them some directions on what they needed to do to get certified, if they needed more courses, and I thought it was really good. And we have some instructional aides here that were there that actually can meet those qualifications and get into that PACE program. We had a few that they did tell them they needed to take some more coursework, but it wasn't that much, maybe 1 or 2 classes before they could get to that point. So we thought that was very good. That was held at Seneca High School, and there's a need to have another one. We had quite a number of people who could not attend that had contacted Ms. Williams and myself and asked, when will you do this again? Our training for student teachers. And we felt like this was very important for many reasons. Our teacher shortage, trying to recruit and employ the best people we can. Teachers like Miss May, for example. We want to get the best that we can. And I know that you're very much aware of our teacher shortage, especially beginning in 2018 when we have all of those people going out on carry. But not only that, we don't have a whole lot of people right now entering into the Department of Education, majoring in education. The universities are very aware of it. They're coming up with different plans to work with districts so that we can work together and get some new teachers in. But it's also changed the recruiting part of it. Teachers, those potential candidates, are actually interviewing us as much as we're interviewing them. And the reason why is they have their choice. They have their pick. They can almost, and these are the good teachers, the ones that we want to have in our district. Our student teacher orientation, Ms. Williams and I did that, and it was very good. All of the teachers were in attendance. The universities made sure they attended. They were given credit as part of their requirements for student teaching to come and work with us that day. We wanted to help grow. We wanted to help those universities grow these good teachers. And then if you look at on February the 2nd, what we did was our technology department did decide that it was a good idea for us to offer our student teachers access to our technology with their own passwords and logins so that they didn't have to use the teachers' passwords and logins. And so it was very important to talk with them about safety. Josh Shepard did that. He did a great job. And the procedures. But it also allowed us as human resource, if you can see on several occasions we've met with those student teachers, is to be able to meet those teachers personally, other than just going out and trying to visit with them with the number we had. It's almost impossible to be able to go out and visit and talk with them. And so we were able to talk with them and also get a feel for what they were doing out there. They were excited, very excited about the training, having access to our technology, and they had some great ideas of things that they were doing that they could share with the teachers that they could do as well. Are there any questions so far about our types of trainings, the people that we've trained, in the areas that we focused on? Yes.
I was just noticing you have the new hires are covered in the summer. I can remember when we had HR, I think instruction, as well as technology. We had classes downstairs all morning long for a couple mornings of just new hires, and it's basically a lot of like the training for student teachers that have been covered there. Canvas, it wasn't Canvas at the time, but you may want to include those numbers as well because you're hitting a lot of people. In other words, every new hire had to go through that process, and it may be in here, but I'm missing it. You know, so don't forget those summer months of the new hires.
Yeah,
You got
training too.
Yes.
a lot of young folks.
And I want to say we have actually received a lot of feedback, especially about the support staff training that we've offered. The office staff is very eager to learn Canvas, or at least have some working knowledge of Canvas. They hear it a lot. Our custodians have mentioned to us that they would like to have the opportunity just to go back and do some basic things like reading, improving on their reading, improving on how they write, how they communicate, to be able to use the computer for things as simple as emails. And a lot of the facility specialists do have to place orders and things like that. Some of them are still taking it to the bookkeeper to do. And so offering them the opportunity for these trainings will be great. Looking ahead for 2017-18, we're going to survey our employees on their interests. And some people have already told us what they would like to do. They are very much interested in Google Docs and how to work out of that, especially our office staff. And again, I want to say that I've had a really great year. Yes,
I'm sorry, no, just, I was going to wait on you.
you can go ahead.
Well, I just noticed in the largest number would be the online training.
Mm-hmm.
Was that training, you all generated the actual video yourself and then had the employees look at that, or did you?
That's, actually,
it a
that
canned
was
video?
done with a partnership with the YMCA. And they got a grant, and it gave us it gave us free access to the training online. So it's done through Darkness to Light. But now we have purchased software recently so that we can have some trainings. For example, if an employee has an issue and they have to come in to see me in Human Resources, there's a video online training that they can take regarding mandatory reporting, regarding harassment, bullying, intimidation, lots of human resources things, but also custodial type things. If there's a asbestos, they need to review that. If they had an issue with slips, trips, and falls, with anything but safety. There's videos about that, and they can actually go and take a quiz. There's a quiz that they have to take once they view the video, and then it prints out a certificate that it can be turned back in and go into their file that they've done training related to whatever their issue or concern might be, or something just to help them improve in that area. So those are some other things that we're actually planning to do in the fall with new online training. It's called Safe Schools Training.
Because see, I was thinking that you could possibly just generate these online training within the school district. In other words, just record it yourself and then store it, and then people can access it through their logins already. You'll know who accessed it, and you may have even larger numbers, because obviously the 680 is a very significant number of people.
Yeah. Well, it's a way of constantly making our employees aware of, harassment or any issues with students. You just hear about that so much now, unfortunately, but it's keeping it in the forefront of everybody's mind. Just be careful what you say, be careful what you do, be careful how you interact with the students. So.
Because, I mean, you right now have the equipment to do the online training. Thank you.
And I had mentioned that when we looked at the type of training, especially at the beginning of the year, and we wanted to focus on the immediate needs of our staff, of course. One of the things, when you look at nationwide, all of the things that are happening and trying to keep our kids safe with safety, that was the number one thing on our list. And I mention it because as we did that, we've heard from bus drivers, we've heard a lot from custodians that they would love to have that training as well immediately, and they are interested and concerned about custodial issues too, the bus drivers especially, when they're dropping kids off and things like that. And they just want to be able to hear it firsthand. We know that the principals do that, but when Evie does it and they hear it directly from Evie, that is very effective. And so with our safety, as we know, we talk about nationwide, this did touch us very locally, and so it's very real. And so we hope that we can definitely continue those. And I want to thank Ms. Williams. She's been very great to work with. And again, she has a wonderful staff in there. And we've been quite busy, but it's all been great. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to have served as the Director of Recruitment and Training. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, anything? Anything else, Ms. Williams?
We'll hear about some of these student teachers as we hire.
All right. Oh, good. All right, then we need a motion to go into executive session for personnel items, employment recommendations, and changes.
Mr. Chairman, I move we go into executive session for personnel items, employment recommendations, and changes.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Unanimous. Thanks for being with us. Always through.